I had a health issue that I'm still trying to deal with and still trying to go through. But we're back with another video. Trying to battle back from it, and yeah, let's see how this goes here. But back with a college football video, and then I am going to drop a boxing video for you guys on Saturday morning. So this one's coming out on Friday. Then Saturday morning, you're going to have the boxing episode. But to start off here, the Red River Shootout. Everybody knows this is the game of the week, the game to watch, the game that more than likely everybody will want to see, other than another game that I will be talking about here coming up. But Oklahoma, Texas, it's going to be an absolute battle, shootout, however you want to go about it. I do think this game will be very, very close. I know Texas is favored by 5. I have Texas winning by a touchdown. So obviously covering the spread. I do think it's going to be really close. I just think that Quinn Ewers is better than Dylan Gabriel. Nothing wrong with Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel, obviously, as you can see on the right-hand side, leads both teams in yards, touchdowns, and I believe in the least amount of interceptions as well. But Jonathan Brooks has been amazing running back for Texas with over 597 yards. He had over 200 yards in his last game, so that really inflated the stat there. But I do think he'll be able to run on Brett Venables' defense. This is going to be a very interesting game. The over-under is 60.5 for the game through both teams. I think you should be looking at the over on that one. I do think this game will be in the mid to high 30s. For Oklahoma, low 30s, Texas higher 30s. Reason why I'm kind of going with that is because I have Texas winning 38-31 for Oklahoma. I think it's going to be a great game. Both teams have really good defensive lines. Now, the offensive lines, we don't know about Oklahoma. They've never really been tested. This is their biggest test of the whole year. They will not verse a team as good as Texas, nor I don't think they will have a ranked team they will verse. So if they do lose Texas, they at least have the redemption ability to still win out and then verse, obviously, Texas again in the Big 12 title game, which would be funny because these two teams are going to the SEC next year and are leaving the Big 12, so that would make this a little kind of funny a little bit in some ways there. And you can see the weather being 64 degrees on there. But another one is going to be Maryland, Ohio State is going to be a fantastic game in terms of I do have Ohio State winning by 17 points. So not covering the spread. I think the spread's a little high, but I do have them winning by 17 and crushing Maryland's offensive line. I do think they win 31-14, I believe. That's a 17-point spread. Yeah. So 31-14. I do think Ohio State's defense is going to get it done. LSU, Missouri is going to be a fantastic game in Columbia, Missouri. LSU has been pretty down this year. Corners have really killed them this year. And I think their defensive line is just not as good as we thought it was either. And that's kind of the big holdup there. Even though Jaden Daniels is playing phenomenal this season at over 1,700 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions in only 5 games. But as you see, Missouri has the better weapon in this game. Or not the better weapon in this game, because I think Malik Nabers and Brian Thomas are a better combination than Luther Burden and I believe the second wide receiver on Missouri. But Luther Burden is a problem. Brady Cook is very good. He has been playing well, and that defense has been playing pretty well for Missouri. So I don't know how this is going to go. I have LSU winning by 3. I think it's going to be an extremely close game. I know the over-under is 65. I would say that is very true to how this game is going to be. I have LSU winning 33, Missouri 30. So I think it's going to be very high scoring with that, pretty sure. Washington, UCLA, I believe this will be another high scoring game here. I think this will be a great game in Pasadena, California. I do have Washington State out dueling UCLA's phenom quarterback, and Dante Moore is what they are saying is going to be interesting coming off of a bye week for UCLA. It's really interesting also for Washington State as well, but it's really interesting to see which one is able to put it together and get a good win, I do think it is going to be Washington State, and I do have them winning by a touch, not by a touch, I'm sorry, winning by 4 points, 27-31. Virginia Tech, Florida State, not going to be close. Florida State blows them out. The game, another other game that people could say is actually competes with Texas Oklahoma big time is Alabama Texas A&M, because Texas A&M's defense has been really rock solid, while Alabama's has been shaky on the offensive side of the football and have had a tough time running the football outside of Jalen Milroe, and obviously they don't have great wideouts, along with the quarterback is not that great. But Texas A&M is welcoming in the elephants, and I believe Alabama will win this game, but I think it is going to be razor sharp. And I know the over-under is 46. Personally, I have the game 24-21 Alabama. I think the magic number is 24 or above for Alabama to potentially get the win here. I don't know how much scoring Texas A&M is going to be doing if Max Johnson is not on top of his game. North Carolina, Syracuse. I know it's a 9.5-point game. I do have North Carolina winning this game by 14 because they do get Tez Walker back. His eligibility was approved today, so congratulations to him. I'm so glad to see him being able to play this upcoming Saturday, and him probably on limited snaps, obviously, in his first game. But I do think they are going to get the win out there in Chapel Hill. Georgia, Kentucky. This one could be interesting. The line is 14.5, and I don't even know why that line is 14.5 after watching Georgia struggle with Auburn, and Kentucky's much better. And what Kentucky does really well is to shut down the run, which is obviously why they just dominated Florida. And they love to run, which is Georgia's strength. So I don't know how this is really going to go. I have Georgia winning it, but I don't know what the score will be. I think it's going to be very low scoring. It could be 28-21. I could also see it be 21-14. But I do have Georgia by a touchdown on Kentucky. And I know that touchdown is misleading, but I do think they control the game throughout the game. They control it throughout, and I don't think Kentucky ever really has a good chance of winning the game, especially with Devin Leary being as bad as he's been all season. Michigan, Minnesota, that's not even close. Michigan's gonna absolutely choke the life out of them. Another good game, Notre Dame and Louisville. Great game because the line is only 6.5. Louisville and Jack Plummer are welcoming in Sam Hartman and company. I do think Sam Hartman gets back on track, along with I think the estimate does a good job of rushing that football again. I do think they come out with a win, 7-point win. And I do think the game is 28-21 Notre Dame. Notre Dame's defense is really good, and it's going to shut down the Louisville Cardinals. And I think the only way they made it a 7-point game is because they score late, and that's the reason why it ended up being 28-21. Let's see some other ones. USC will dominate Arizona. Oh, I think I have top 25. I'm sorry. Go ahead, FBS matchups here. Here we go. You see here some games that went on, some games that happened on Wednesday with Jacksonville State beating the crap out of Middle Tennessee. New Mexico beating the crap out of Florida International. Currently, Sam Houston Liberty is going on. I think Liberty's going to run away with the game, and I think Louisiana Tech beats Western Kentucky. But tomorrow games, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, not going to be close. I have Kansas State winning by 14 to 21 points. I think they dominate Oklahoma State. Nebraska, Illinois is the two sorry teams in the Big Ten. Going to be tough. Luke Altmaier has not been very good. Neither Nebraska. I'm going to lean Illinois by 3. I'm just going to lean that way, even though it probably doesn't even deserve it. Wisconsin, Rutgers is actually going to be a better game than I think you guys are anticipating, especially with Tanner Mordecai. He's been really bad this year, almost really unplayable really this year, honestly, this year. But I do have Rutgers pulling off the upset on Wisconsin. I know that's a crazy 13-point line, but I do think Rutgers goes in gets the upset here and wins by a field goal. I also think Marshall upsets NC State. In NC State, Brandon Armstrong's been terrible all year. He's not going to get any better this season. I got Marshall in this one by a touchdown. Some other notable games here. Iowa, Purdue. I have Iowa squeezing the life out of Purdue and only winning by a field goal. I think it's going to end up being 21-18. Not that great of a game. Clemson dominates Wake Forest. I don't think that game even gets competitive. Should be competitive. I do have them winning by the line of 21. And I think it's going to be 42-21. So that's going to be that one there. Vandy, Florida. I got Florida by 21. Swans hasn't been that good. Vandy hasn't been that good. Florida's going to get back to running the football and barely using Graham Mertz. Kansas will get Jalen Daniels back, and I do believe they'll knock off UCF to make them at 3-3 and upgrade Kansas to 5-1 and potentially get them back in the polls. So hopefully that can happen for their sake. Rice is going to beat UConn all day. Colorado, Arizona State. This is a must-win for Colorado because if they do want to make a bowl, this is one of the games they have to do it in. I have full confidence that Colorado will blow out Arizona State. I think this game will be a 14-21 point loss for Arizona State. I think Shedeur Sanders is going to put on a monster game and really put on his shoulders, the meaning of Colorado football. Fresno State, I think it's going to be tough, actually, because it's in Laramie. So I know Fresno's supposed to win by 6. I have Fresno winning by 6 as well. I think this game is going to be extremely close. And Wyoming has played every team really tough. Texas Tech, Baylor. I got Texas Tech by the slightest end of them by 1. I have them by 2 points over Baylor. And I do think that will end Dave Miranda's time at Baylor. And then Arizona, USC. Don't really think there's much to talk about there. I got USC by 20 over Arizona, which doesn't cover the spread, but it's enough to say they dominated. So those are the games for this week. I hope you guys stay tuned. Make sure to like it, subscribe, and we'll be back hopefully with some more video for you guys. Like I said, the boxing video will be dropping tomorrow.